Rachel Bashir is going to come and share something that's a little bit different in that it doesn't spring out of last year, but Rachel leads Edge Housing, which I've invited her to highlight, or you'll explain what that is in just a moment, but is one of a number of sort of church-birthed organisations that places a high priority on collaborating with others. And then that's going to lead into, I'll introduce you in a second, Martin, who's going to speak to us more broadly about the bigger picture, which absolutely demands collaboration. So there's a little segue, really, in what Rachel's going to share with us.
We're going to start with the video, if that's okay.
Well, my life was an absolute total mess. I'd gone from owning houses and doing very successfully to a relationship breakdown. Kids were involved, it was just a horror show. And I slipped back into drink and drugs.
Edge Housing was founded in 2012 with 2 houses open to rough sleepers.
Since then, we have helped over 100 people to move forward with their lives.
I've seen other avenues that other people have taken, and I've thought, I'm glad I stay with Edge, really.
Edge Housing offers homes and support to those in need in Oxford.
We treat people as individuals, helping them to achieve all they hope to.
We support people into careers and secure housing.
We believe everyone should have hope and a future.
I ended up in Oxford homeless, and I was only here 6 weeks, and Edge contacted me and got me off the streets and housing. I'd just come out of hospital because I got all my stuff taken, my head stamped on. I had to have MRI scan, CAT scan. Pretty much every night, every time I went to a different place to get something to eat, I was filling in forms for different associations to get me off the street because it was enough's enough. And then Edge came first. Yeah, and they housed me the following day. All the help came at the right time, all in one go.
At Edge, we recognise the need to have excellent governance and a solid foundation to ensure that we can offer the best service to our residents.
I think the thing that really inspires me about Edge is how an extended community comes together for good. I think the partnerships that we've got are a real strength, so it could be anything from the investors in the properties through to the amazing students that we have on placement from Brooks, to corporate ambassadors, to individuals and churches who support us in so many ways. But I think a key thing for me is that Edge is still small enough to be flexible, to do the things that maybe other people can't do, but we're also big enough to do it really professionally. And the combination of that with the partnerships really bodes well for the future.
Edge Housing is on a journey, and if you would like to join our family of supporters, we'd love to hear from you.
Good morning. Matthew 25, 37-40. Then these righteous ones will reply, Lord, when did we ever see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink, or a stranger and show you hospitality, or naked and give you clothing? When did we ever see you sick or in prison and visit you? And the king will say, I tell you the truth. When you did it to one of the least of these, my brothers and sisters, you were doing it to me. We often think, imagine if we actually treated the poor and broken as if they were Jesus. Many years ago, long before I started working in the homeless sector, I saw a homeless man begging in Oxford, and I thought I would do something nice. So I went and I bought him a McDonald's meal, and I sat with him to chat to him while I gave it to him. And he pulled the burger out and he gave it to his dog and told me that he was a vegetarian. And I was quite shocked and a bit miffed. I'd grown up with beggars can't be choosers saying in your mind. But I can now look back at that moment and realise that in my attempt to do something kind for someone, what I'd actually done was to emphasise that he had very little value. He wasn't important enough for me to even ask him if he was hungry, let alone did he eat meat, did he like McDonald's, or what McDonald's meal did he want. I hadn't treated him as if he were Jesus. I'd expected him to have no opinions worthy of me listening to, but I did expect him to be grateful for what I'd done. If Jesus was out there begging on the streets, would I have treated him the same? And with this in mind, I just wanted to take a few minutes to briefly share about Edge, our approach, and the importance of our partnership working. Now, Edge celebrated its 10th year anniversary last year, and I've led the project for 8 of those years. I've seen it grow from supporting 10 rough sleepers in 2 houses with 10 rough sleepers in 2 houses to currently 8 properties, 35 residents, and various specialist areas within that. The team I get to work with is exceptional, and there's a real good mix of people with lived experience of addiction and homelessness, as well as a huge amount of faith. And then the residents that we work with are mainly with us because they've suffered real extreme trauma at some point. And this could be witnessing domestic abuse as a child, neglect from parents with addictions, or sexual abuse features highly in the past of people who often find themselves in this situation. And the best work that we do isn't about getting them to attend appointments, but it's actually helping people see that there is hope and that they have worth and value. We believe in people when they've lost the power to believe in themselves. Then we can help them move forward. So our approach to seeing people find freedom is quite unique. And to briefly outline this, one of our greatest strengths is how we feel we sit between the professional sector and a faith-based approach. And many Christian organisations are either predominantly prayer-based, which is a befriending style, or professional with just a nod to a historical Christian mission or values. We feel our work, however, sits between the two, but not as in that we're only half faith-based and half professional, but fully faith-based and fully professional. And we explain this by being made of 3 strands: biblical truths, professional approaches, and love. The first is biblical truths. If we deeply in our being believe that no matter how broken, how addicted, or how unwell someone is, that God made them in his image, that he has a plan for them and that he loves them, we can know there is always hope, no matter how dark it can get. We can believe that even if we're not the end of their journey, we're a part of it, and that the love and the acceptance they feel won't go unnoticed. The second is professional approaches. Just because we believe in the power of prayer doesn't mean that we don't believe in well-researched approaches. In the same way that because we believe in miraculous healing, it wouldn't stop us helping someone see a medical professional. We follow and are trained in 3 specific approaches: trauma-informed care, unconditional positive regard, and solution-focused therapy. And what we love most is that all of these have aspects that are found in the Bible, even the ones developed by the humanist Carl Rogers. With trauma-informed care, the Bible is full of trauma. And Jesus has a very specific approach to it. He doesn't see the behaviour and call it out. He sees the pain. And he taught us to look beyond the action and to see the hurt. With unconditional positive regard, the Bible tells us that we are adopted into his family no matter what, and that he knew all we would do before we were born, and he still loves us. An example of this is that often when we've had to evict people, we continue to have a good relationship with them because we make it clear that their action caused them to have to leave. But them as a person, we love them and we want to still be there for them. And then solution-focused therapy. We may be loved and understood, but Jesus certainly doesn't tell us to sit around and do nothing. He calls us to action. And then the final of the 3 strands is love. And I'm not talking about the type of love that brings in trustees or the HR departments, but Edge Housing's values are based on what is love from Corinthians 13. And that love is patient, is kind, it doesn't envy, it doesn't dishonour, it's not self-seeking, it protects, it trusts, and it perseveres. And shouldn't we want to treat everyone in this way? And not even just our residents, but other agencies, churches, other churches, the city council, funders, local politicians. We want to celebrate when others get good news, and we want to come alongside individuals who are burnt out or struggling. We want to offer support to grassroots organisations and to large commission services. How can we work alongside them? How can we be a blessing to our city and beyond? And then lastly, some of our best work is done through partnerships with organisations. We have students on placement from Brookes University. Our recovery house is through a partnership with Turning Point, which is the main addiction service in Oxford. Our work with those with no recourse to public funds is in partnership with Oxfordshire Homeless Movement, Connections, Aspire and Asylum Welcome. And through these, we've got to support some of the most vulnerable in our city, as well as getting to know some other incredible staff members. It blows my mind to consider the possibility of how powerful the help would be to the vulnerable if there was more joining up and less little islands. So we have realised that rather than our approach being either Christian or secular, is actually this complementing, beautifully intertwined set of beliefs and knowledge that gives strength, power and credibility to each other. And if we went back to the original scripture at the start, do we not believe that we should want to seek every opportunity, every partnership and every researched approach to help those in need as if every single broken, vulnerable person that we met were Jesus?